just want to go over the running record codes and miscue analysis for you one more time. I know you had it in the video you just watched, but while this is right in front of you, I want to reiterate because you're going to be doing this in just a little bit. So let's start with the running record sheet on the right. When a child reads a correct word, you put a check mark right above the word. When a child reads a word that is incorrect, you write above the word that they said wrong what they said. So the text says one thing and the child says another, and you just write that. When a child adds an extra word, you kind of put that little mountain, and then you put the word that they said. If the child omits a word and doesn't read anything, you put a blank line above the word. When a child repeats something, you draw an arrow to show the words that are repeated. And you can put R1, R2. I sometimes don't even put the R because honestly, when you're doing these with a reader, you are moving so quickly that you don't have time to do a lot of extra things. So as long as you understand what you're doing, that's the main goal here. If a child asks you for a word, you can put A, they appealed. And then if you just decide after some wait time to tell them, you put T for told. And you just put that above the word. And if a child makes a self-correction, you will put SC beside the word that they corrected. And so it looks a lot like substitution usually. It could look like an insertion or an omission because it's whatever they said and then they fixed it. So you just put an SC beside it. And that's basically the coding. Again, as long as you're close, you're fine because as long as you need to know what you wrote and what they said. Now, to figure out all the mathematics, we'll do that later, so don't worry about. But when it comes to that scoring, we have two areas. At the bottom, it gives you just little quick definitions or reminders for meaning, structure, and visual. We talked about these during our Word ID week, and meaning is looking at context or the picture, and we're thinking, does the word make sense? Structure is, does the word fit into the sentence? Does it sound right in the grammar of the sentence? And visual, do the words look similar? Whatever they say, does it, visually look like the same word? I like the cheat sheet on the left, though, because it kind of gives you a bigger picture of these three areas that you're going to be watching for. The purpose of watching for these cues is it tells you a lot about what the reader needs to learn or what they already have learned. So are they using meaning cues? Are they using structural cues? And are they using visual cues? So if you look over there, they've got for meaning the little thought bubble, and it says the student looks at the picture to think about what might fit in the context. The reader thinks about the meaning of the text and thinks, would this make sense? So words like alligator, crocodile, and gator would all be correct if you're looking at a meaning cue because they mean the same thing and they match the context, I'm sure, of the picture and the words around it. When it comes to structure, you're looking at grammar, and the student is thinking, would it sound right to say it this way? And the structure of the text would be, is it following English language? And the little reminder they have there is, look at me ice cream as opposed to look at my ice cream. Grammatically, my is the only word that fits there. The last one is visual, and visual is the student thinking, does it look like a word in the text? And the student notices what the letters and words look like. And so we have two examples there. We have the word like and the word look. And really, when they make a attempt, is it looking at the letters in the word? And is it somewhat similar? And you'll see in the example that I show you, this can vary a lot. You can have students make visual errors and also be looking visually at the word because words are similar, and they have to look a little bit deeper. But this is our little cheat sheet. I'd like you to print these out by clicking on them and then use those when you're coding and listening to the running record on the next slide.